Washington for us. Thank you. And let's get more on this meeting now with Ukraine's ambassador to Australia, Vasyl Myroshnychenko. Thank you so much for joining us on the program.
Good morning.
Mr. Trump has described a potential peace deal as being close to 95% done. Looking at what's come out of this meeting, there doesn't appear to have been any big significant breakthrough. Does it sound to you like this was a constructive meeting? Is it too early to say?
It was a very productive and constructive meeting that other presidents have had. They have discussed all the 20 points that were on the table, and 95% of those have been already agreed upon. And some of the most important issues, of course, for Ukraine are legally binding security guarantees from the United States of America. And as you know, Ukraine has once given up its nuclear weapons in 1994 in exchange for security assurances, which turned out to be not worth the paper they've been signed on, which were provided by the United States, but also by Russia, in exchange for, making the biggest contribution to the global peace. And certainly under these circumstances, for this war to end, we need to understand and know for sure that Russians will not mount another attack in the future. But of course, for the time being, the key priority is to force Russia into peace and get a ceasefire and negotiate a lasting, comprehensive and just peace for Ukraine.
Yes, we know that Mr. Zelensky was looking for that binding security guarantee and has secured it. Can you just explain a little bit more about how the security guarantees would work?
Look, I don't know the details of the text, the way it's been put in the writing. We'll still find out. But just to make it very simple, the way legally binding security guarantees are done, they must be approved by the Congress. And in case Russia restarts the war, there will be clear, sanctions reimposed on Russia, significant military support for Ukraine, and all other measures which can also take place and which could be part of that agreement. But certainly that legally binding security guarantee would immediately bring serious military support for Ukraine, which will be then deployed against the Russians. And that's pretty much where it is. And also it should involve European partners, which are all part of it, and all the negotiations which are taking place. But, so far, Ukrainians have been pursuing peace for the past year. We have accepted all proposals coming from American administration, including the initial proposal for a ceasefire that was voiced by President Trump in March. And we haven't seen Russians actually committing to any of that. And Russians continue waging the war. They don't demonstrate any sign of interest in peace. Just over the weekend, they've attacked Ukraine with over 500 drones and over 40 missiles, targeting power generation, electricity distribution, specifically intimidating Ukrainian civilian population, which is already suffering from regular blackouts. And as temperatures drop, it makes it especially unbearable for the Ukrainians.
Just regarding this latest round of peace talks, Mr. Zelensky says a key sticking point in the discussions is this establishment of a special economic zone in the Donbass region. Why is that such a crucial piece of the puzzle for Ukraine?
I think it requires a little bit of a context. Ukraine cannot give up any of its territory and will never cede any territory to Russia. It's not going to happen. And of course, there is a whole discussion and the demands from Russia for Ukrainian troops to withdraw from the territories of Donetsk region, which they don't control. And let me tell you that Russians could not take over that part of Ukraine for 11 years. Russians invaded Donbass in 2014, and they haven't managed to occupy entire Donetsk and Luhansk region. And now they are demanding for Ukrainian troops to withdraw so that they can occupy. And it's not viable since, firstly, the fortification lines there are the strongest ones and the most armed ones that we have. Plus, should we withdraw and Russians occupy the territory, they can mount another attack at the neighboring provinces, which they will then just use Donetsk as a launching pad. Hence, it's not possible at all, and a Ukrainian president cannot do it, and Ukrainian people will never support it.
Ambassador, you mentioned the assault against Ukraine's civilian population, and we have heard reports that more than 40% of residential buildings in Kyiv have no heating, and it is the middle of winter. What is life like for residents of the capital right now?
It's horrible. Ukrainian people are suffering. I was just on the phone with my brother-in-law, who is stuck there in an apartment on the 17th floor, and without any electricity, cannot even get an elevator to his apartment. And also the heating is gone, and temperature is dropping. Overnight, it's been like minus 10 degrees Celsius. So it's dark, it's cold, it's miserable. Suddenly, Ukrainians celebrated Christmas, and they tried to bring some joy amid all this chaos and madness which is happening. But Russians are relentless. They now send missiles and drones every other day at Ukraine. And it's not often even reported these days because the Russian attacks at Ukraine have become a routine. And this is really horrible. And these are, crimes against humanity which Russians are committing. And they must be held accountable for what they're doing. They must be held accountable for that act of aggression. I mean, what are we seeing right now is we are seeing potentially for an aggressor to get rewarded for the war, because if Russia can end up controlling those 19% of the Ukrainian territory, they will proclaim that they got what they wanted. They've used the force to destroy, the country, take over 20% of its territory, and it's a huge territory. It's already the size of like 2 Switzerlands. To put it in a perspective, which Russians are now currently controlling.
We'll have to leave it there. Ukraine's ambassador to Australia, Vasyl Myroshnychenko, thank you so much for your thoughts. Really appreciate your time.
Thanks for having me.